Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Banker by day, and we focus on crypto by night. So in my channel you can expect to find out more about NFTs, crypto, and most importantly blockchain gaming. In today's video we're going to focus on how to make gasoline on the play to earn game Townstar by Gala Games. Just before we go on, please do take a minute to like this video and subscribe to my channel, especially if you find my videos helpful, so I can bring more of them in the future. You've started your first town and you need to start making gasoline. Let's get straight into it. The first question here is going to be, when do we start making the gasoline? If you built your town like I have over here, and you would have known you start with 40 gasoline. If you don't have any NFTs like some of the NFTs that I'm going to show you that support gasoline production, then a good rule of thumb would be around 12 to 15 gasoline. So once you hit that 12 to 15 gasoline mark, it's kind of important that you've already started building out your refinery and some of the other components that I'm about to show you. The first part of gasoline is the storage. So you would have started with one of these, and you can see that it takes a maximum capacity of 40 gasoline. And that's also, as we said, what you start with. So one of the main parts of building out the gasoline production is actually the oil refinery. So from the refinery, we can find out what it is that we need to make in order to get that production going. I'm going to start off by building a refinery over here. Now, while we do that, I'm going to introduce you to some of the other components. We know we're going to need a wind turbine, and that basically produces energy. And we're also going to need oil pumps. So I'm just going to place the oil pumps over here. And we'll put 2 of those, maybe even 3. And a wind turbine over here as well. Now we're also going to need a worker house, and you'll find out why. And we'll actually just put 2 worker houses here. We're going to need a water facility. So we're just going to wait for that to build. Those have been successfully built. Now, the first thing we have here is the refinery. And if we go down to craft, we can see that to make gasoline, we're going to need, the first thing we're going to need is petroleum. So let's switch back to how we can actually make petroleum. We're going to need 2 crude oil, 1 water drum, and 2 energy. And for the rest of the gasoline, we need that 1 petroleum that was made here, 2 water drums, and 6 energy. We need 1 more item here that I need to add in, which is a warehouse, and that's going to be used to actually store energy and water drums. And I'm going to empty out or flush the storage here, because the fuel storage is actually going to hold the crude oil from these oil pumps and the petroleum. So first thing we're going to go to is petroleum, and we're going to start to make that. So these oil pumps, they make crude oil every 3 minutes. This worker house is going to be transporting the crude oil from the oil pump to the fuel storage. So usually what you might want to do is have these kind of closer to your fuel storage. You can go through the wind turbine. So as you can see, this is yellow because it's taking a little more time to process due to the buildings giving it shade around it. So you can see when the warehouse was built, that actually went to red. So I'm going to delete that and move that over to here somewhere. So that's gone back to yellow, so we can make the energy a little bit faster. And the same here. So what this does is this crafts the energy every 4 minutes. And you have a water facility, and that will provide your water drums for the petroleum and the gasoline. Now, this does require 3 water. So what I would recommend is to actually build a pond right next to your water facility, and that will definitely speed up the process. Now, just while waiting for that, I will explain what's actually required in terms of your inventory, so you can actually build these. So the refinery takes 10 wood, the oil pump takes 3 wood each, the warehouse takes 3 wood each, Refinery slightly expensive, 15,000 town bucks, and also the warehouse, 15,000 town bucks. The wind turbine takes 1 wood and only costs 2,500, and the oil pump was also 2,500. A builder house is going to cost you 2,500 town bucks and a rate of $20 per minute. So you don't want to add any of those that you don't need. You don't want too many of them. Fuel storage, if you need to add an additional one, is 15,000 town bucks, and the water facility is actually going to require you to produce oak wood, and 1 oak wood and 2 normal wood. So the way to create oak wood is if we delete this over here, and in your farm you can build a oak wood tree farm, and that is how to get your oak wood, which I actually had before we started this. There we go. And as usual, your lumberjacks will transfer the oak wood when it's ready into one of your wood sheds or lumber yards, which is a larger version of the wood shed. You can see the worker over here is taking the electricity, and you can see this guy's doing the same thing. And we can also see that 1 crude oil has been in fact transported to the fuel storage from these oil pumps. Now the 2 out of 2 crude oil has been satisfied. The 2 energy has also been satisfied. So we just have to wait for this water drum production. Now, instead of having a pond next to this, you can have a bunch of wells, and the worker from the facility will collect the water from this well. But it makes it a lot easier to have it in passive, makes it a lot quicker. Don't forget, for these to actually start producing their components, you do need to click the make button on the craft icon here. So I've just stopped that just so that water is not used for something else, and it's just used to fill this pond with my builder here. Now that the pond is ready, you can see that 3 out of 3 water is always going to be passively given to this. So it's not required that the water facility worker takes it from the well. And that will help you speed up your petrol production or gasoline production a lot more. As soon as that first water drum is ready, we can start to make the petroleum. Water drums are stored in warehouses, so is energy, and you're going to see the refinery get to work on that petroleum. Petroleum is made fairly quicker than gasoline. You can see we have our first petroleum, and we can go on to making gasoline. As mentioned before, it's going to require 1 petroleum, 2 water drums, and 6 energy. We can see that first gasoline is about to be made in the refinery, and it's then going to be transported to your fuel storage. So guys, that's the basics of gasoline production, but just before you go, I'm going to give you a few quick tips. The first thing is the refinery or the oil pumps, they actually give off passive dirt to the surroundings over here. So this is one of the reasons why this well is taking so long, because it's giving passive dirt, which hinders the time for the well to replenish the water. You want to keep your oil pump away from sheep pens, away from kind of your farms, your tree farms, or anything growing, because the dirt will make it slower. These are, very efficient, and you can see that they're green. The second thing is, as I mentioned before, the wind turbines, you want to avoid buildings and put these in locations that are apart from each other. They usually give off 3 shade, and they also are affected by shade of other buildings. In terms of NFTs to help your gas production, if you were interested, one of the NFTs is the Haunted Collection. So in the Haunted Collection, what happens is if you're creating petroleum and you need crude oil, with any of these haunted items placed next to your refinery, you will receive the crude oil passively. And in addition to that, you can see that if we place a solar panel or a Tesla coil, either of these NFTs, they give passive energy. When you're trying to create your petroleum, if you have two items that give off passive energy, you can actually skip out the wind turbine part. But also the Tesla coil is going to make energy passively as well. So instead of it taking, I don't know, 3 minutes, 4 minutes for energy, you can actually get your worker to take energy back to your inventory every 30 seconds from the Tesla coil. One other thing I would recommend is maybe have two fuel storages, because sometimes you can get backed up with petroleum and gasoline and you might forget to switch. So you want to make sure that you make the most of the time and you have the maximum capacity to store your gasoline, crude oil or petroleum. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope this video helped you get to grips with the basics of gasoline production. Now, there is a more efficient build that requires a bit more money. I will be making a future video to actually show you guys how to make that efficient build, because it kind of ties in with other different industrial productions such as wool production or uniforms. And it involves the use of the power plant building. If you haven't had a chance to actually play Townstar, or you don't really know much about Gala Games, it's a really good time to find out more about Gala Games, start playing Townstar. We're going into the month of May, and Gala Games has an event running called May Mayhem. And during this event, they're going to be giving away millions of dollars worth of Gala and other items in competitions to do with most of their games, including Townstar. And it's really a huge opportunity to learn more about play to earn and also make some money while you're doing it. If this video helped, please do subscribe, and hopefully I can keep you up to date with more in the crypto, blockchain and NFT space. Thank you, guys.